That was the City Hall you saw in the previous picture, but you get some idea of the devastation of downtown. For example, the picture that Senator Grassley showed is right down here. My Senate office is in this building here, of course totally inaccessible. Everything is shut down. So you begin to get an idea of the magnitude of it. Right over here is the Quaker Oats plant. I'm sorry, I kind of cut it off there. This is the Quaker Oats plant. This is the largest grain milling facility in the world, and it's shut down, underwater. Now you begin to see some of the other neighborhoods here and how they're impacted also. At least I wanted to see how many blocks it was. 400. This is a typical part of Cedar Rapids that's flooded. Now you can see what a block would be like. You know, I can't even tell the streets here, but I assume this would be a street, and this would be a street, this would be a street, so that'd be a block. So you got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe you got 6 or 8 blocks here, 6 blocks here. 400 blocks like this are underwater just like this in Cedar Rapids. 400, just like that. I didn't have a camera big enough. I didn't have a lens big enough to cover it all. But 400 city blocks are inundated like that. We had in Iowa City, much of the University of Iowa has been inundated. Students, faculty, staff, we were there watching them sandbag. Students were working, moving books from the library, artwork from the university's gallery. It isn't just our largest cities also. We talked about Cedar Rapids and Waterloo, Des Moines, Iowa City. But there are other smaller towns and communities that we visited. Senator Grassley and I were in Charles City and Waverly. Each have more than 500 homes inundated with floodwaters. We were told on Saturday that 1 in every 4 residents in Waverly, 1 in every 4, are affected by this and their houses flooded. We went through the downtown area of Waverly on Saturday, not a business open. Now, thankfully, the waters have receded because it's up north and the water's headed south. The waters have receded, but they don't have the power yet. They got all the mud and the dirt and the debris to clean up yet. Elkader had 60 homes, 30 businesses destroyed when the Turkey River went over the levee. The Anamosa sewage plant failed at 2 different points because the levee broke. The list goes on and on. I had to duck out for a minute when my colleague was talking, but Senator Grassley's hometown of New Hartford, you feel so sorry for them. They were hit by this tornado a couple weeks ago. A couple people lost their lives. Now, it didn't hit the town squarely, but it nicked it and took some houses out on the north side of town. But then New Hartford got flooded, and they had to evacuate the town because of the flood. And as you fly over Iowa, of course, being chairman of the Agriculture Committee and being involved in agriculture all my life, I want to look and see. And you look over the countryside of Iowa, and every field. I don't know that I didn't see one field that wasn't affected with ponding and water. And because the corn had only come up maybe a couple of inches, the water's covered it, and it's dead. It's gone. And so we don't know the extent of this damage, but the Farm Bureau, the Iowa Farm Bureau, estimates that as much as 16% of Iowa's 25 million acres are currently underwater. Now, I have to tell you, just from my own eyeball, looking at flying over it over 2 days, I think it's higher than that. I think it's higher than that. Again, I just say, Mr. President, we see nature at its worst, but we see people at their best. The sheer number of volunteers filling sandbags, helping out in other ways. Thousands participated. We were in Iowa City, and they were sandbagging up the library. And yet little kids, 9, 10-year-old kids, maybe some younger, holding these plastic funnels so they could get the right amount of sand into the sandbag. And then they had these lines set up with students and everything. Saw the same thing in Des Moines.